In the year 2077, the virtual game apocalypse became a reality. The world order collapsed, and Earth turned into a living hell. Amidst the chaos, humans began awakening supernatural abilities. In this devastated world, Jiang City's richest playboy, Ye Xiao, did everything he could to protect Qin Yanran. He spent a fortune hiring 10 experts to help her level up, ensuring she had access to the best resources. He spared no expense, even depleting his entire fortune to buy her a divine artifact. Whenever valuable opportunities or rare equipment appeared, Ye Xiao immediately handed them over to her. Thanks to his support, Qin Yanran eventually rose to become a god-tier powerhouse in Dragon Country. Today was supposed to be their wedding day. Everyone was overjoyed, believing it to be a match made in heaven. Many envied Qin Yanran, dreaming of having such a wealthy and devoted man propose to them. However, during the wedding ceremony, Qin Yanran smiled, hugged Ye Xiao, and then suddenly declared she would never marry him. Before his eyes, she tore out his heart. Shocked and in agony, Ye Xiao gasped, asking why she would do this. Lying on the ground, at death's door, he couldn't comprehend why the woman he loved with all his heart had betrayed him so cruelly. Qin Yanran coldly explained that money couldn't buy true feelings. She accused Ye Xiao of trying to use lavish gifts to coerce her affection. She admitted she had accepted his gifts but said that didn't mean she loved him. Everything she had achieved, she claimed, was due to her own hard work. The only person who truly understood her struggles was Zhou Hong. She intended to give Ye Xiao's heart to Zhou Hong, so she could hear its heartbeat every day, her ultimate romantic gesture. Realizing that Qin Yanran and Zhou Hong had only used him for his wealth, Ye Xiao watched helplessly as Zhou Hong laughed and even stepped on his face. Everything that once belonged to Ye Xiao now belonged to Zhou Hong. Just like that, Ye Xiao died, unable to understand why betrayal came after all he had sacrificed. But his heart was filled with fury. He refused to accept such an ending. Suddenly, in the midst of his rage, Ye Xiao opened his eyes, only to find himself in a familiar scene. Qin Yanran stood before him, shouting and demanding more money. She claimed it was to preserve his dignity and warned him not to cling to her any longer. Ye Xiao barely heard her words, too stunned. He had reincarnated. He realized he was now back in the week before the apocalypse descended. His card still had 200,000 yuan, the monthly allowance he used to give Qin Yanran. Recognizing the scene, Ye Xiao's heart turned cold. Remembering the betrayal he had suffered, he glared at her, rage burning deep within. Frightened, Qin Yanran asked if he regretted giving her money. In response, he coldly pushed her away, telling her that if she was only taking his money for his own good, he would never give her another cent. Hearing this, Qin Yanran softened her tone and tried to coax him, suggesting he hand her the card again. But Ye Xiao furiously ordered her to leave. In shock at his sudden change in attitude, Qin Yanran demanded to know how he dared to speak to her like that. She warned that he would regret it. Ye Xiao took back the shoes he had bought for her and threw them in the trash. "If you truly never want to see me again, that would be a blessing," he said. "I have more important matters to attend to than waste time on you." At that moment, Ye Xiao recalled that the Apocalypse beta test would begin in just 1 week. During the first 10 minutes of the test, the recharge system would briefly activate. He needed to secure enough funds before that moment. Immediately, he contacted Yang, a relative who had always wanted to buy his shares in the family corporation. Ye Xiao shocked her by offering to sell all of his shares, but for no less than 20 billion yuan. He gave her 5 days to complete the paperwork and transfer the money. Yang readily agreed, thrilled that she would finally gain full control of Ye Corporation. Ye Xiao warned her not to waste time and to call him once everything was ready. With his financial problem solved, Ye Xiao focused on preparing for the Apocalypse beta. This time, he thought, I'll climb to the top alone. A week later, the Apocalypse beta launched. Ye Xiao quickly registered and created his account. A welcome window appeared, informing him that the beta would last for 3 days, after which the public version would go live. Logging into the game gave Ye Xiao a strange feeling of nostalgia. This is it, he thought, the starting point of everything. He chose the nickname Night Xiao and selected the Beast Tamer class. In his previous life, he had seen an entire guild annihilated by a god-tier beast tamer commanding a dark abyss dragon. This time, with his unlimited funds, he would master the beast tamer class. After finalizing his nickname and class, Yashao opened the top-up recharge window and deposited 20 billion yuan into the game. Within the next 3 days, he expected the in-game coin value to multiply tenfold. Suddenly, the system congratulated Yashao for being the first player to recharge over 1 billion. As a reward, he unlocked a unique hidden profession, Wealth God. Yashao was stunned. He had never heard of a hidden class unlocked just by spending so much money. Could it really be God of Wealth? At that moment, a red frog appeared from within the system, casually smoking and speaking to him. Yashao stared in disbelief. The frog introduced itself as Ebisu, his wealth mentor, announcing that Yashao was now the 709th wealth god under its guidance. Yashao was skeptical. How could a toad possibly be a wealth mentor? Insulted, the toad snapped its fingers. Suddenly, countless system notifications flooded Yashao's screen. Innate talent, wealth rolling in, LV1 your gold increases by 1% daily. Innate talent, penny pincher, LV1 upon death, no gold coins or items will drop. Innate talent, extraordinary luck, LV1 great wealth grants great luck. Innate talent, unmatched charm, LV1 charm increases by 50 points. Innate talent, power of the wealth god, LV1 for every 1 million gold coins spent, gain +1 random attribute point, up to 100 points per day. Seeing so many innate talents at once, Yashao was astonished. No wonder it was a hidden class. Though not directly offensive, any one of these talents could generate unimaginable power and wealth. When Yashao noticed the effect of wealth rolling in, he realized that with his current 2.2 billion gold, he would earn 22 million extra gold daily. With power of the wealth god, that translated into 22 free attribute points every day. This god of wealth class is simply overpowered. He thought. In his previous life, he had foolishly spent all his wealth on Xinyan Ran. In this life, as a true wealth god, he would show the world the real power of money. Yashao spawned into the newbie village. There weren't many players around, making it the perfect time to level up quickly. However, starting as a beast tamer was much harder than other classes in the early stages. He couldn't tame powerful beasts yet and needed a good strategy. The toad chastised him for recklessly choosing beast tamer, reminding him he didn't even start with a proper weapon. But Yashao insisted the beast tamer had the highest potential for growth if nurtured correctly. Just as he was checking his status window, he heard a commotion behind him. Turning around, he saw a group of level 5 goblin warriors rushing toward him. With no weapon, Yashao was completely at a disadvantage. The panicked toad urged him to run, and Yashao did, dashing toward the main city with the toad bouncing after him. They barely escaped defeat. Humiliated, Yashao resolved not to remain weak for long. Other players mocked him, pitying his pathetic tamer class and his ridiculous toad companion. Angered, the toad demanded he buy a beast egg in the city to tame a better creature. But Yashao refused. He didn't want just any beast, he wanted the best. Confused, the toad asked what he planned. Yashao revealed he knew of a hidden dungeon containing a god-level beast egg in a dragon's lair. Determined, he headed straight for the Supreme Hall to hire powerful mercenaries to help him reach it. The toad was shocked only players above level 100 typically entered the Supreme Hall. But Yashao ignored all warnings and boldly entered, only to be stopped by a level 80 Grand Archmage. The Archmage politely suggested he return when he had a recommendation letter from the city lord. When Yashao admitted he didn't have one, the Archmage tried to drive him out. Yashao smiled coldly. This time, he wouldn't beg. This time, he would buy everything he needed and pave his way to the top. He had heard the Archmage had recently lost something and claimed he was there to return it. Suspicious, the Archmage declared he had lost nothing and warned Yashao not to lie. In response, Yao tossed a handful of gold coins onto the ground and told the Archmage to look carefully, ***, those *** were the lost coins. A sudden glint appeared in the Archmage's eyes. He quickly collected the coins, and his attitude toward Yao changed dramatically. Showing newfound respect, he guided Yao to a VIP room in the War God Pavilion on the upper floors of the Supreme Hall. Yao couldn't help but smile at how quickly the Archmage's demeanor had shifted. He even teased him, saying he liked his earlier fierceness. In return, the Archmage assured Yao that he was now free to enter. The Toad was amazed at how well money could open doors. Once inside, Yao observed rows of powerful Supreme Hall Honor Knight golems, some at level 80 and others at level 100. Even the Toad had to admit that the Supreme Hall lived up to its reputation. Anyone who hired a level 100 guardian could practically dominate the newbie village. Yet none of these standard golems appealed to Yao Xiao, he considered them beneath him. Suddenly, a berserk blood warrior approached Yao Xiao and demanded to know who had allowed him inside. Yao ignored his tone and stated that he wanted to hire a divine-level golem guardian. The berserk blood warrior scoffed, explaining that divine-level golems were exceedingly rare and generally unavailable for hire. Judging by Yao's current stats, even a level 80 guardian was already more than enough. Besides, he doubted Yao could afford such a contract. Yao then declared he was willing to pay 1 billion gold per day, causing the blood warrior to fall silent. His demeanor softened immediately. In a quieter voice, he admitted that while it wasn't standard practice, rules were ultimately made by people. By coincidence, he happened to know a divine-level spellcaster who might be willing to help. Recalling that divine-level spellcasters were incredibly versatile, capable of protection, defense, and offense all at once, Yao recognized the enormous advantage of hiring such a powerful ally from the start. He accepted the berserk blood warrior's offer without hesitation. The warrior reminded Yao that while he could summon the spellcaster at any time, they first needed to settle the payment details for the billion gold per day rate. Yao proposed signing a contract immediately, agreeing to pay whenever required. The blood warrior accepted, and said that once the contract was finalized, the spellcaster would be summoned. Yao was eager to proceed. He had much to accomplish and wanted to start immediately. As the contract stabilized, a beautiful female mage suddenly teleported behind Yao. Her name was Dolores, a divine-level spellcaster. According to the contract, she would follow Yao's orders for the next 24 hours. Curious, Dolores asked what difficult task he needed her for. Feeling a bit awkward, Yao admitted he had hired her for a very challenging mission. Dolores, however, seemed unimpressed. She assumed there were no truly tough dungeons in the newbie village, mentioning that foes like the Goblin King and even his entire family could be wiped out with a simple wave of her hand. Yao decided to skip further explanations and simply asked her to follow him. Together, they headed to a monster hunting area. Upon arriving, Dolores summoned a massive firewall spell that instantly obliterated the Goblin elite warriors. Yao was stunned by her damage output. It was as if she were knocking the numbers so high they might as well be phone numbers. Other players nearby were just as speechless. They saw Yao teamed with a spellcaster unleashing insane damage values. Some wondered if he was hacking but quickly dismissed the idea. No known cheats existed for the game yet. The only logical explanation was that he had hired an extremely high-level NPC spellcaster. Thanks to Dolores' overwhelming firepower, Yao Xiao's level skyrocketed. He soon reached level 10, gaining 10 attribute points to allocate freely. He also became the first player in Novice Village #9527 to reach level 10, earning another 10 bonus attribute points. Even more impressively, he was the first player worldwide to hit level 10, which granted him 50 additional attribute points and the special title, Speed Ascender. The Toad was amazed at Yao's rapid progression. Most players were still below level 5, yet Yao had surged to 10 in just half a day. In response, the system broadcasted a worldwide announcement. Player Knight Sorrow has reached level 10, unlocking the level leaderboard, ***. Other players were shocked, wondering how someone had managed to level up so quickly. Some guessed he might be a game master testing the system. But Yao Xiao didn't care about their speculation. Soon enough, when Apocalypse merged with reality, everyone would discover he was the true god among them. With his new level, bonus attribute points, and the 100 points gained from spending 1 billion gold through his God of Wealth power, Yao decided it was time to head for his true destination. After a long trek, the Toad finally asked how much farther they had to go to reach the hidden dungeon. Yao Xiao reassured him they had already arrived. Pointing ahead, he announced with a smile. "Welcome to the Dragon's Lair. Welcome to the Dragon's Lair." Meanwhile, in another part of the game, a player, currently only level 3, had been relentlessly hunting elite monsters from the moment he logged in. Despite his efforts, he had barely reached level 3, yet someone else had already hit level 10. Is there some exploit in the game, he wondered. He'd never heard of Night Sorrow before, but the news both intrigued and excited him. This could mean there was a powerful rival worth competing against. Back with Yao Xiao now standing before the hidden dungeon located in Novice Village number 9527, deep within Whispering Valley, at coordinates 110,254, he placed his hand on a particular stone to reveal a concealed entrance. As he and his companions entered, a system warning flashed. "This area is extremely dangerous. Leave immediately." Dolores was astonished by the overpowering aura seeping from the hidden dungeon. She couldn't believe a dragon's lair existed within a newbie village. "How did you even find this place?" she asked, both curious and wary. Yao explained that he had no intention of actually fighting the dragon at his current level. In his previous life, a level 100 berserker had accidentally triggered a hidden quest *** explore *** the dragon's lair *** and discovered the entrance in the novice village. Nobody believed him at the time, so he ventured in alone and never returned. In Yao's past life, he had bought that berserker's battle footage for a high price and learned that a rare dragon egg was hidden in this dungeon. Now he intended to claim it. Dolores and the toad Ebisu were both shocked. Dolores warned that stealing a dragon egg was often harder than slaying the dragon itself. Yao, however, insisted that someone of her caliber, a god-tier sorceress, could handle the challenge in seconds. Venturing deeper into the lair, the group soon spotted a massive dragon in deep slumber. Dolores froze. "That's a tier 5 radiant dragon," she exclaimed in disbelief. "Even a tier 3 dragon can destroy an entire guild. A tier 5, that's in another league entirely." Yao's eyes gleamed. The egg of such a powerful creature had to be incredibly valuable, and he was determined to obtain it at any cost. Dolores shook her head, refusing to fight. Even doubling her commission wouldn't change her mind. She claimed it was simply impossible. Yao clarified that he had no intention of battling the dragon. He just needed her to buy him some time while he snatched the egg. Dolores still hesitated. A tier 5 radiant dragon was beyond formidable. As she started to walk away, Yao tripled her fee on the spot. With such a massive offer, Dolores finally relented. "I can only hold off the dragon for 3 minutes at most," she warned. "Use that time wisely to grab the egg." She then cast multiple buffs on Yao, each lasting exactly 3 minutes, and told him bluntly, "The rest is up to you." Seeing this, Yao realized just how incredible and terrifying a god-tier sorceress could be. Sister Talisai, Dolores, unleashed her full power against the dragon, using ice arrows to restrict its movement and draw its rage away from Yao. With the dragon focused on her, Yao slipped behind it, hoping to steal the dragon egg undetected. He reminded Sister Tao not to let the dragon notice him, otherwise, they were done for. But Sister Tao was quickly running out of steam. She called out that she could only distract the dragon for another minute and a half, urging him to hurry. When Yao tried to lift the dragon egg, he realized it was far heavier than expected. He asked the toad Ebisu to help, but the toad clumsily knocked over some nearby armor, causing a loud crash. The dragon's eyes snapped open, enraged. Yao grabbed the egg in a panic and yelled for Sister Tao to do something. Mustering her remaining mana, she erected an ice wall to slow the dragon's advance, but it wasn't enough. The dragon roared and unleashed a Dragon King's breath. Sister Tao screamed for Yao to run. She herself fled. Seeing her also running away, Yao shouted in confusion. But she reminded him. "Our 3-minute deal is over. I'm not invincible, I can't take on a tier 5 dragon indefinitely." Together, they barely escaped the dungeon before being incinerated by the dragon's breath. Though it was a close call, Yao successfully managed to snatch the dragon egg. Outside, Sister Tao admitted that if this egg truly belonged to a tier 5 dragon, then the risk they had taken was worth it. She also reminded Yao not to forget her commission. Because of the mission, Tao Lacey's favorability toward Yao increased, now sitting at 60. Yao assured her she'd be paid promptly. He then turned his attention to contracting the beast. The toad teased Yao, hoping the egg wouldn't hatch into something bizarre, otherwise, that 300 million spent on Sister Tao would have gone to waste. Ignoring the jab, Yao placed his hand on the dragon egg. Success or failure, it all depended on this moment. It all came down to this moment. The shell cracked, revealing a small green dragon. But something was odd about its appearance. It didn't look like a radiant dragon hatchling at all, its coloration was completely wrong. Taken aback, they wondered if this meant the radiant dragon had been cheated on. It didn't look like a radiant dragon hatchling at all, its coloration was completely wrong. Taken aback, they wondered if this meant the radiant dragon had been cheated on. When Yao checked the little dragon's status, he was completely stunned. It turned out to be a mythical tier Azure Sky Dragon, currently at level 1, yet its base stats were already off the charts, an average of 500 points in strength, constitution, agility, and spirit. In addition, it possessed several overwhelmingly powerful talents. 1. Absolute suppression. As a mythical tier beast, the Azure Sky Dragon naturally suppresses lower tier creatures. It deals 30% more damage to creatures below mythical tier and receives 30% less damage from them. 2. Dragon King. As the supreme being of the dragon race, it suppresses all other dragon-type creatures, dealing 50% more damage to them and receiving 50% less damage from them. 3. Mythical Bloodline. Its incredibly resilient body grants increased stats upon leveling and regenerates 200 HP and MP per second. The Azure Sky Dragon also had devastating skills. Earth-shaking Dragon Roar ***. A group stun skill. The dragon unleashes a thunderous roar, stunning all creatures within a 20-meter radius for 1.5 seconds, regardless of tier or type. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Mana cost, 2000. Dragon King's Breath ***. A single target skill. The dragon breathes scorching flames, dealing 500% of its strength as true damage. This attack cannot be dodged. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Mana cost, 1000. Dragon King's Wrath ***. A unique talent skill. The dragon enters an uncontrollable rage, dealing enemy strength plus constitution, % of true damage indiscriminately within 50 meters. Cooldown, 30 days. After use, all stats permanently decrease by 5%, and the dragon enters a 5-day slumber. With 500 strength at level 1, even its basic breath attack would deal over 500 true damage, an amount no normal player could withstand. Sister Tao congratulated Yao on his extraordinary luck, pointing out the hatchling's absurd stats and immeasurable growth potential. If this Azure Sky Dragon matured, its power would be terrifying. Overjoyed, Yao decided to name the hatchling Little Grey. The toad was equally delighted. This formidable beast was now unmistakably Yao's companion rather than his own. But suddenly, Yao noticed the toad holding something strange, a badge. Curious, Yao asked where it came from. The toad explained he had picked it up from the dragon's nest. Sister Tao recognized it and wondered aloud if it might be the Calamity tier mark of ferocity. But upon checking, Yao discovered it wasn't a true Calamity tier item. Instead, it was simply called the Mark of Ferocity, and it was still incredibly powerful. Plus 10 to all stats ***. Unique passive skill, Ferocity's Might ***. All skills can now trigger critical hits. Base crit rate is increased by 20%, and crit damage is doubled, 100% increase. Active skill, Ferocious Massacre ***. Deals 1000% of the user's spirit as true damage to a target. This attack has double the normal crit chance, and if crit chance exceeds 100%, the overflow becomes bonus crit damage. If the target's HP is below 20%, it has a 5% chance of instant death. Cooldown, 10 days. Judging by the badge's monstrous stats, Sister Tao remarked that it probably was a Calamity tier item in disguise. The toad, however, insisted that Yao hand it over, claiming he had risked his life to retrieve it. Yao countered that, thanks to the toad's clumsiness, they had nearly died, so it was only fair that he kept the badge as compensation. Still unwilling to concede, the toad demanded 10,000 coins per day if Yao wanted to keep it. Yao tried to sweet-talk him, saying they were buddies and money shouldn't matter between friends. The toad snapped back that Yao only acted friendly when he wanted something, otherwise, he treated the toad as nothing more than, well, a toad. Yao simply laughed, saying that with this badge, cutting through goblins would be like slicing through butter. But the moment he equipped it, he triggered a hidden quest. The Forbidden Adjudicator. Though mighty, the King of Ferocity was consumed by the abyss. Bearer of the Mark of Ferocity, seek the truth. Objective * find the Fong of Ferocity. Startled by the sudden quest, Yao wondered what the Fong of Ferocity was. Sister Tao, who had heard of it, explained that it was a god-tier assassin's dagger forged from the fangs of an abyssal beast known for explosive power. The Fong was clearly linked to the Mark of Ferocity. However, she warned that reaching the Abyss continent would be a long journey. Before Yao could ask more, his daily gaming time ran out. He would be forcibly logged out in 3 minutes. Sister Tao opened a teleportation portal to return to the Supreme Hall, remarking that she hadn't expected a hidden dungeon in a starter village to take so long. She reminded Yao that if he ever needed help with another dangerous dungeon, he could always hire her. Yao said his goodbyes and logged out to rest. Since Doomsday was still in beta and hadn't fully merged with reality, there was no need to push his body too hard. Would you like me to continue polishing the rest of the story starting from Yao browsing the internet the next day?